When both beaters on one team are in possession of a bludger and neither beater on the other team have a bludger, then somewhere on the pitch is the third bludger. It's specifically referred to as the third bludger when no one has possession of it. The beaters on the team with control cannot interfere with the beaters on the other team acquiring the third bludger. To do so is third bludger interference and is a 2 bludger turnover. The bludger on the ground stops being the third bludger if one of the beaters throws their own bludger to make what's called a legitimate beat attempt. This is a judgment call on the part of the referees, but essentially if the beat is involved with the play and actually beats an opponent or is near an opponent, the beat should be considered legitimate. If it is not a legitimate beat attempt and is simply rolling the bludger or throwing it towards the other hoops towards no one or throwing it out of bounds, then it's still that bludger on the ground remains third bludger, and if one of the beaters that just threw the bludger, their own bludger, then picks up the third bludger, that also constitutes third bludger interference. Other ways to commit third bludger interference include physically standing in the way of the beater that's going towards the third bludger. One of the players on the team without a bludger can put their fist up to claim immunity. Players often hold it up very high, but you only have to have it up to your shoulder in order for it to be claiming immunity. If both beaters put up their fists at the same time, there's an opportunity for them to recognize this and one of them to put their fist down, and play can proceed as normal. If they continue to both keep their fists up, the beater that is farther away from the bludger or otherwise less likely to collect it must be sent back to hoops. There are 4 wrinkles to the claiming immunity that I should briefly discuss. First one is that bludgers that are already in the air before the fist reaches shoulder height will still knock out the beater. Meaning, if someone is throwing a bludger at you and they throw it and the ball's in the air and then you put your fist up, it is not a valid immunity claim against that specific bludger because you did not claim immunity before the bludger was thrown. Second, immunity begins when you put your fist above your shoulder height in order to claim the bludger, and it ends the moment you have possession of the bludger. It doesn't end if your fist comes down for any reason. For example, when you're reaching down for the bludger, you're still immune as long as the ball that's thrown at you is released before you gain possession of it. 3. The beater who claims immunity cannot do anything else except gain possession of the bludger. They must go to the bludger and claim possession of it. Now, you can possess the ball by picking it up. You can also possess the ball by kicking it. But you cannot simply stand there over it with your fist up, waiting for anything. And you absolutely cannot deviate from your path towards the third bludger and get involved in other play like making tackles and so forth. That is illegal. That is going to be at a minimum a blue card. Fourth, the immunity can only be claimed on a dead bludger. So beaters will sometimes throw a bludger and then they'll put their fist up before the bludger has actually reached the ground, often after it's made impact before it's reached the ground. And the penalty for this early claim of immunity is going to always be back to hoops, whether they end up actually getting struck by the bludger or not, though in most cases they will, and you simply call them beat. Players who resist this by claiming that they had immunity may, of course, receive further cards for arguing with the referee.